Hey, Steve here, and today what I'd like to do is show you a moving pattern that you can learn how to play that sounds really cool. It's very effective in your solos. We're going to be using the key of E minor / G major just because it seems like so many songs are in that, so it's a perfect scale to choose. And what we're going to be doing here is using groups of 6 notes, 3 notes on each string, to build these patterns as we move up. So the shape that you're playing is going to change, but the picking pattern will not. So we're going to talk about some things that you might want to consider to make this more comfortable for yourself. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go to the 7th fret of the 6th string. We're going to play 7, 8, 10, and 7, 9, 10. So I'm using 1, 2, 4, and 1, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up to create this pattern. Okay, now when I get done, what I'm going to do is shift up, and I'm going to create a new group of 6 notes that connects to the last group in terms of being correct with the scale. So I'm playing 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. And then what I'm going to do is move up, and I'm going to play 9, 10, 12 on the 5th string, and then 9, 10, 12 on the 4th string. So I have... And I just keep trying to connect those together. So I practice one over and over and over, then I start practicing the next one. And then I start trying to put the two together. Okay, so I'm doing down, up, and then down, up with that shift in the middle. So step 1 is you practice the first position, which is the 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. Step 2 is you practice the second position, which is the 9, 10, 12. Now, the only difference here, of course, is the fingerings that you might be using. Here, you might be using 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. If you're using something else, it's just fine. And then here, when you move up, you're using the 1, 2, 4, or at least I am. So I have... And then the third part of this is what I always refer to as connection points or connectors, which is what oftentimes people forget to think about, which is trying to get from pattern 1 to pattern 2. Sometimes that's the most difficult part. Sometimes building the group of 6 is actually easier, but it's learning how to create that connection from the end of the first pattern to the beginning of the second pattern. So trying to get that to work. Okay. So again, you're going to have to figure out what works best for you in terms of practicing something like this. But once you understand the idea, all we're doing is connecting new groups of 6 along the way using that same concept. So I'm going... Okay, so now I'm going to take that same idea and I'm going to connect a new one. So I left off with... 9, 10, 12 here. So what I'm going to do is move up and I'm going to play 10, 12, 14. And then I'm going to play 11, 12, 14. So I'm going to stay in the key of E minor here. So that's my new group of 6. So 10, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14. So you'll see I'm shifting up that first finger. Okay, so now I have this. Those are my 3 groups so far. And I just have to try and connect them together. Not to get off track here, but your choices are always to build the pattern, and by pattern I mean the group of 6, to a desired speed or tempo and comfortability. And then you build the second one, and then you try and push those two together. That's one way of practicing this. The other way is you learn the entire thing or sections of it and you play it all slow and you try and connect them together that way. To be honest with you, I find that more people are capable of learning how to play a group of 6 fast and then learning how to shift them together. It takes time, and it's not like, you know, the thing about any really good guitar player out there that you can think of, it all requires practice. Some days are better than others. Some days you're cleaner than others. It's just that's the way it goes. But you keep trying to get better at this whole thing. So part 1 is understanding what it is that you're trying to do, and then the second part is determining what's the best way of development for you when you play. So you might do something like... and decide you want to put all 3 together like that, and then just keep practicing it over and over and over. personally, I think it's more productive to try and learn to develop that 6 and then learn how to connect them together as best you can. And then you just keep doing it over and over and over, trying to make it sound better and sound cleaner and tighter. Just over and over and over. So you take it, you just keep building it. All right, so back to our lesson here. So 10, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14. Well, now we need to shift up again. So we're going to move up and play 12, 14, 16. But then we have to move up again and play 13, 15, 17. So now you have 2 spread fingerings, but they're off center of each other. So now you've got to try and fit that one in. So you've got and then. Okay? And then we're finally going to end with some more spread fingerings. We're going to move up and we're going to play 15, 17, 19, and then 15, 17, 19 again. So we're actually doing 4 spread fingerings at the end there. We're going, and we're connecting those together. Okay? Now, if you know your scales, you're going to be able to visualize how this fits into the key of E minor or G major, whatever you want to call it. And if you don't worry about it. Just learn it and have some fun with this thing and worry about the theory behind it later. But start learning how to develop this idea of the group of 6. Now, if you don't know how to, create a group of 6 like this, you may need to go back to an earlier lesson and study alternate picking or 3 notes per string patterns or different things like that. So start, developing your picking on this to try and get that working. Okay, so we've got our first group, which is 7, 9, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. Then we move up and do 9, 10, 12. Then we move up and do 10, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14. Then we move up again and do 12, 14, 16, 11, 15, 17. Then we move up again and do 15, 17, 19, 20. So you just break each one of those down. Now I have another lesson where I discuss the inconvenience of getting into these thinner frets, these tinier frets, and trying to make your fingers fit. If you have bigger fingers, you might get up here to, for instance, 12, 14, 16, and then 13, 15, 17. And it just doesn't work very well for you because your fingers are too big. You might want to consider at that point moving to a 1, 2, 3 to make that more comfortable for you. It's not wrong, it's just different. It's just what works better for you. So that's a whole other conversation. And again, I do have a video that talks about that, of trying to figure out how to better your position changes. We always play with what's called logic. And logic is what the teacher says or what the book says or what the video says or whatever that most people tend to do. And that's great. That doesn't mean it's always going to work in every situation. In the real world, we have to shift things as much as we need to make something function, make it comfortable, make it sound good, whatever it is that we're trying to do. You understand this practice thing as well as I do. We all have to get in there and figure out what works best for us as we play. And sometimes when you get into these smaller frets, the fingering that we would traditionally use just doesn't work very well, so you might need to change it up a little bit. So that's kind of a fun pattern for you to screw around with, see what you can come up with, and start trying to use it in your playing. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you click the subscribe button so you're always notified when I have new videos. And if you need help choosing a guitar course that's perfect for you, make sure that you click the Help Me Choose link in the description.